Howdy guys, welcome back to Distraint. For this video, we are going to be going to visit Mrs. Goodwin in the hospital. Back in the previous episode, the doctor called and said she had a stroke, and she doesn't really have anybody else to come visit her, so she asked for us to come visit her. And I guess we're still feeling a little bit guilty for kicking her out of her house. So that's what's going to be going on in this video. But before we do that, we got to kind of do our little interlude and get some coffee and get suited up. It's not going to take as long. And right here he says, my new coffee maker deluxe 2000, blah, 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 blah. He's getting money now. He has enough to afford a new coffee maker. But he's at the same time, he's trading his humanity for all this new stuff. No more fetching water from the weirdest of places. Luxury, one could call it. So while the coffee's getting brewed, somebody's going to call on the phone, and it's going to be... Hello, this is Price speaking. Mr. Price, this is Stuart speaking. So right here, I don't know, it's like he kind of had like a premonition that the doctor was going to call, I think. This was in the last episode before I ended it. So this is the doctor actually calling right now. I'm calling about our nursing home on behalf of Mrs. Goodwin. It's just going over everything. She had a stroke. She's doing relatively fine. Let me guess, she asked for me to visit her. Impressive, Mr. Price. Indeed so. It would mean the world to her. Could you please consider doing so? Yes, of course. I'll come see her. Thank you, Mr. Price. I'll let her know. Okay. And look who it is. Good old mom and dad. Let's talk to them. Ha ha ha. You are right, dear. I will never forget that day. Oh, look, dear. It's our little boy. I can see that, hon. Hey, son. You don't mind that we took some coffee already? Coffee tastes great this time. Not at all. Since you're here, I guess you have something important to tell me. That is correct, son. It seems you are still pursuing the riches at the expense of others. What your father is trying to tell you is that you are losing yourself in the process. I think I know what you mean, but I can't quit now. I'm so close to success. How about Mrs. Goodwin? We heard she's not doing too good. Don't you think you'd rather be at home? Don't you think she would rather be at her home? I know, I feel horrible for her. Maybe you would understand if you saw the consequences of your actions. You should go and see how Mrs. Goodwin is doing. Hey, you don't need to be so pushy. No, son, we do. We are only thinking what would be the best for you. Sorry, I know that. See, you can be very compassionate, honey. Is anybody home? I'm looking for Mr. Price. Yeah, I guess that's him just hallucinating somebody knocking on his door because nobody's there. Let's just ignore that for now. Get our coffee, get our suit, and go to the hospital. Okay, so this episode, one, the puzzles get a little bit more difficult. It's still a very easy game, but they get a little bit more challenging. But, I mean, there is going to be some morbid stuff going on in this video. It's pretty bad. I mean, I didn't know it was going to be this bad when I first started this game. But it's pretty gruesome. All right, I'll pay Mrs. Goodwin a visit. The good thing about this game, though, it's just like a pixel game. So, I mean, the graphics aren't that scary or anything. I hope she's okay. So this, I don't know if this is it's like a hospital or a nursing home or kind of a combination of the two. But it's just like a bunch of old people. It's actually pretty depressing here. I mean, not because they're old, but it's just like a depressing setting. So the first thing let's do is talk to the reception, but nobody's there. We're going to have to come back here in just a second, but let's just ignore them for now and go. Again, we're going to have to come back to this TV. If you talk to her right now, it says snow. No wonder these folks are so absent. And then this guy's sleeping right here. He's blocking the way. This is actually Mrs. Goodwin's door right here. So this is our end game. We have to find a way to get in this door right here. But this guy's blocking it. And on top of that, it's locked. There's actually going to be quite a few things we have to do before we have access to that room. But first and foremost, let's go downstairs. And this is going to be like the little workshop that's down in the basement. Let's talk to this guy. Since I thought I heard something. Hey, kid, could you do an old man a favor? Sorry, who are you? Janitor carpenter at your service. My name's Price. Nice to meet you. And sure, what do you need? I was in the middle of something, but then the electricity went off. I'm guessing the circuit breaker tripped. There's a fuse box near the kitchen. Could you check the fuses over there? I guess I'm not in a hurry, so why not? Okay, objective number 1. Fix the fuse box. He gave us a key. We wouldn't have access to this fuse room unless he gave us the key. So it's kind of a neat little puzzle how they do it. But what you want to do is... This door's locked for now. Let's go in this door right here. And then this one's locked, obviously, with the bars. And then I think this room right here... Let me just show this off really quick. I think this room, there's never anything to do. I mean, we could talk to the TV. And it says something like, what the hell is this program? I better just leave it. And it's making like some creepy noise in the background. But there's nothing else to do. It's just a random room. All the other rooms there is stuff to do in. But let's ignore that for now. And then here we have a little bit of dialogue between the chef and one of the nurses. Potatoes, 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 I refuse. I shall not cook anything, no. Potatoes, my skills are going to waste. I refuse. I need better ingredients. Be nice to have some meat every now and then. Go away, get lost. So this is the chef, and he's sick and tired of cooking potatoes for everybody. So he's going to be looking for some meat. Oh, don't go in this. I don't think there's anything to do in the bathroom either. But let's go to this room right here. Use the key. Okay, so the circuit board, I think it's actually different every single time. But you got to go in order. So it's not that one. It's not that one. Whoops. It's not that one. Of course, it's the last one I check. So hit that one, and then just, it can get kind of tedious, but you got to just find the right order. So just keep going at it, and maybe go in order, and just pay attention to which ones light up and which... Wow, really? Twice in a row, it's the last one. Of course. Oh, it's going to be like that for all of them, isn't it? All right. All right, perfect. Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, that was a good way to end it. Which, I don't think that's how circuit boards work. I mean, it would be nice if they did, but the electricity should be back on. All right, so now that that's done, let's go back to the basement and talk to the carpenter. Which, this is the part that gets a little bit gruesome. I mean, not the door bleeding. Nobody cares about that. But let's just go ahead and keep in mind to stay away from that door. At least for the time being. Save point right there, too, if you want to save your game. I'm going to hold off on saving till I'm done recording. So let's walk over here. And, yeah, if you talk to this guy... Ah, thanks, kid. Electricity's back on. What the hell are you doing? I'm disposing of this corpse. Corpse? Who is that? Just some old story. Yeah, he's grinding up some dead old person in his basement. Died a few days back. It's cheaper this way. I feel sick. So, yeah, they're not even burying these people. They're just grinding them up in the basement. And this isn't even the bad part. I gotta go grab some of this guy's body. I think I'm gonna throw up any moment now. Piles of guts, bloody body fluids, whatever he says. This will have to do. So, you have to pick up this bloody meat. And unfortunately, this is so bad. It's so bad. You have to give this to the chef to cook up, to feed to all the other old people. And once you do this, Price has zero remorse. And it's like, are you seriously going to give that to the chef to cook for people? He doesn't even think twice about it. Look at this. I happen to come across this fine piece of beef. Do you think it could be suitable for your purposes? So yeah, he's got to cook this steak, and we got to feed it to some old people. Which, when you think about it, like, doing this right here is 100 times worse than kicking people out of their apartments. Like, who cares about that? You can't feed people to other people. Oh my god, it's so bad. I'll start cooking right away. So right here, I think just to wait for him to cook, all you really have to do, I think, is just go look at a cutscene back near the reception desk. So let's walk over here, past these people, past the TV. And I think this is all you have to do, as far as I remember, but just kind of watch this guy. He's dragging out the rest of the body to, I assume, throw in the dumpster. I don't know. But after you do that, you should be able to go back, and there should be one more cutscene with the chef. But, yeah, that is just awful. That's like the worst thing I've ever done in a video game. It's like it's inhuman. All right, yeah, so the nurse is here now. I have prepared a beautiful dish. Finally, these people will get the food they deserve. Speaking of that, I'm here to see Mrs. Goodwin. Could I take the food to her? Oh, and on top of that, he's going to feed it to Mrs. Goodwin? I mean, luckily, we end up not giving it to Mrs. Goodwin, but... Come on. Come on. We like Mrs. Goodwin. Don't do that to her. And look at this freaking nurse. How terrifying she is. Look at her eyes. And the way she's, like, undulating back and forth. Oh my god, I love this game. I gotta make videos more often. This is a lot of fun. Okay, so this isn't Mrs. Goodwin's room, but this is the person we have to give the food to just to progress the storyline. Can I come in, please? Please do. So let's talk to this lady with the food. And just for time's sake, she just kind of rambles on and on about nothing important. So I'm going to kind of breeze through this fast. I'll go slow enough where you can read it if you want to, but trust me when I say it's nothing important. She's just like kind of rambling on, and Price is trying to get out of there. But, yeah, we got to grab one more thing in this room, too. I think it's in this room. Please take this for listening to my nonsense. Okay, so we get the cowbell as one, but I think we get the hanger two in this room. It's a wardrobe. This might come in handy. Okay, it's the hanger. And we got to use this hanger on the TV. It's going to make one of the stations come in. And that's going to move this old guy right here, which if you try talking to him, if I can get it to pop up. If you try talking to him, it says he's sleeping or something. And then even if you try ringing the bell, he wakes up for a second, but then he goes back to sleep. So that's not the answer. You would think it'd be the answer, but that's not what you have to do. You actually have to use the code hanger right here on the TV. And then that's going to make a Ken Badcock is airing. And then they all just sort of herd over to the TV. Which, I mean, that alone is kind of depressing. Like, they're a bunch of cattle. Like, all old people want to do is watch TV. And listen to that sick bass line, too. That's pretty good. So the next thing to do is use the cowbell by... Oh, it actually says deception. Deception? Yeah, deception. But just use the cowbell right here. And it's going to be that creepy-ass nurse that comes over. And he talks about the door with the bars, the one that was locked. And she says something that we can't understand, but she's going to go ahead and lock that for us. So now we have access to that room. So, let's go in there. And I think there's just one more thing to grab, and then we're pretty much done with this floor. So it's going to be a little bit shorter of a video. But it was just a short floor. The next video, though, it's going to be a little bit longer. I'm actually not a fan of the next puzzles coming up in the next video. It's a little tedious. But what you want to do here is just grab this flower. We're going to need this for Mrs. Goodwin's room. If we try to enter Mrs. Goodwin's room without this flower, Price says something like, oh, I should probably bring her a flower. It's the nice thing to do. So let's go ahead and take this. And then if you notice, too, once you grab something out of her hands, this bar swings across the door, and it's going to lock us in. So what you want to do is just put the cowbell back in her hands. And for whatever reason, that's going to open the door. And now we have access to Mrs. Goodwin's room. So let's go see how she's doing. She did have a stroke. But let's try to cheer her up a little bit. And I think it's, yeah, this room right here. You actually have to use the flower on the door, or else it's not going to open up. So use the flower, Mrs. Goodwin. This is Price. Can I come in? I'm here. Come in, please. We got some nice music, too. Is there music? I was nervous and afraid. I didn't know what to expect. Maybe she would blame me? I was concerned for her well-being. I felt guilty and ashamed. Okay, Mrs. Goodwin. I brought you a flower. How are you, Mrs. Goodwin? Oh, you shouldn't have. Thank you, dear. I'm delighted you came to see me. Of course, madame. I still feel horrible about taking her home. I shouldn't have done that. Stop it, young man. You shouldn't blame yourself. Thank you, Mrs. Goodwin. That means a lot to me. But still, can I do something for you? Anything at all? No, I have no one. I just wanted to see a familiar face before I'm gone. Madame, you don't deserve this. I'm just a spineless scallywag. But let me make this right. You could move into my place. I'll take care of you. It's not much, but anything beats this. Oh, you're such a polite young man. So, I mean, Price, he's doing the right thing here. He doesn't even know this lady. He was just doing his job and kicking her out, but he feels so bad that he wants her to come live with him, and he's going to kind of take care of her, which I think is great. I mean, at the same time, he's feeding dead people to other people, but it sounds like Price is a pretty good guy. I mean, at least he still has his conscience. But I can't do that, dear. You have your own life and things to take care of. Me? I'm old. I won't be around for too long. Madame, don't say that. No, listen to me. Don't blame yourself, young man. Besides, soon I will get to see my husband again. Madame, I will come to see you every week. You can always call me if you want to talk. Thank you. Okay, so... I mean, she's doing all right. She sounds like she's doing okay. She did have a stroke. I don't know how much more time she has left. I was so close. One more name, one last push. But something had changed. Something inside me tried to make me stop. I ignored that something. I didn't stop. Mr. Jones, the last name on my list. So we got one more guy to kick out, Mr. Jones. And I'm going to save this one for the next video. I'm going to cut it right here. But just to talk about it a little bit, I mean, it's so tedious what you have to do. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like draw out a little map just to make it easier, kind of like I did in Aooni in the first 2 floors. But it's like you see some of these doors are boarded up, like this door right here. So what you got to do is you got to like take these mushrooms to make you walk through all the doors you don't have access to. Whoops. So let me just show it off really quick since this was a little bit shorter of a video. So these things right here, it's like, see this door's blocked? Once you take like this drug, you're able to walk through everything that's blocked off. And then there's a timer, so you gotta pay attention to what you're doing. You see right here is blocked with the mushrooms. So if you come in this room, you gotta wait, and then these ones will disappear. And for some areas, you gotta do it really fast. So it's just kind of tedious. I'm not really a fan of this puzzle, but we'll get through it. We'll do it fast, and I'll try to make it as easy to follow as possible. But that'll be for the next video. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and thank you for watching.